Last fall, you came out and said you have scrutinized the data, and what was the conclusion?
That the global warming of the past 50 years was very close to what the prior groups had claimed it was.
So they were right.
On this issue, they were right. That's right. And my reaction was that the issues that they did not answer, that they didn't answer in their papers and that they didn't answer publicly, were issues that they had put a great deal of careful scientific thought into, and they were able to answer it to the standards necessary. Now, there's a difference between being able to come to a conclusion and being able to convince every skeptic that you've come to that conclusion. The details of this get so complex that their failing was not in the work they had done. Their failing, I felt, at the end, was in their ability to address openly all of the issues that had been addressed in such a way that an unbiased outside observer coming in would be compelled to accept their conclusions.
Which is, you're talking about a communication issue, and scientists are often not the best communicators. They lead with what they don't know rather than what they do know. So they were right. There's a whole set of issues
on the measurement of the temperature change, they were right.
And what was the reaction to your report? You previously were known as a climate skeptic or a denier, and there were some pretty strong words for you among some people. You called a media whore. Some people thought you were, a convert. So what was the reaction?
Well, actually, if this had all happened 15 years ago, you wouldn't have such quotes. These days, we have the internet.
Thank God for blogs, yes. Yeah.
And anybody can use the strongest language that they want and put it on. And then even if they retract it, it's there. Yeah,
yeah, that was,
So yeah, a lot of people misunderstood. People still today confuse media reports of what, let's say, I have done with what I have done. And it's like this famous painting, "This is not a pipe." It's a painting of a pipe. So people would respond to what people had said I had said, not to what our group, our Berkeley Earth Surface Temperature Group, had actually said. To try to avoid this, our goal was not just to test the conclusions of the prior groups, but to do it in a far more transparent and open way. So even though they had not yet been accepted for publication, we put them online. Jim Hansen does the same thing.
And you were criticized for putting out non-peer-reviewed literature by people saying, hey, this
Despite the fact that that's the longest tradition in science. People have done this. We used to call them preprints. And I was a tradition I was raised in by Nobel laureate Louis Alvarez. You send your papers out and you get peer review before you even submit them to the journal. And this was what I learned was peer review. And now some people have decided, no, that's not peer review. Now it's only the journals who decide what's peer review.
And what was the response of some of the funders? The funders of this include Charles Koch with the Koch Industries, Bill Gates, Ann and Gordon Getty. How did they respond to the results?
Haven't had anything other than expressions of pleasure that we were able to do what we proposed to do.
And so you validated the basic measurement of the Earth's surface temperature is warming.
That's right. That's right. And we were able to measure with greater accuracy. We were able to address what we felt in an open and clear way, the objections that had prevented me from reaching this conclusion in the past. These included the fact that we were able to use all of the stations. I have my person we hired to do much of the math and computing named Robert Rohde, who is one of the few geniuses I've ever met in my life. And he did a superb job on the statistical analysis and on the data work. And we were able to show that we were able to use all the stations, which previous groups couldn't do. We were able to directly look at, because we could use all the stations, we could pick a subset of the stations that were all rural, none of them in cities. And we could get the global temperature solely from the rural stations. This is the most direct way to address the urban heat island effect. We got the same answer. We could do this because we were using all the stations.